family, my name is Tracy Chen and welcome back to my channel, My Great Australian Dream. On this channel here, we talk all things migration. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the principal lawyer at Mason Chen Law Group. Now, there has been so many changes to migration over the last couple months. To be honest, I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that's going on. But all I can say is a lot of the things that I spoke about a year ago, a lot of things that I spoke about 6 months ago, everything's changed. I have a complete different outlook and perception on migration now in Australia. As we go into the new year, I want to talk about the migration program in general in Australia. Now, as we all know, the Labor government were elected into power a few months ago. And since then, one of the most pressing matters that they have addressed is migration in Australia. So one of the first things they did was hired more people to work in migration, to work in the Department of Home Affairs, and they cleared the backlog of visa applications. So it was something like over 2 million applications that they cleared over the last few months. So applications that were completely in limbo because of COVID, because of a number of different issues, student visas, tourist visas, skilled visas, family visas, cleared a lot of the visa backlog. And that's all great. But the most exciting thing that they did was they basically brought life to all the migration programs again. So what I want to do today is deep dive into the migration program planning levels and what it means. This was updated and announced on September 2022. But as you know, sometimes the migration planning program that they announce isn't really reflected in what they actually do. But now I've seen so much action in the last few months, I'm comfortable to really talk about it, and kind of hopefully predict, what could happen in the next 6 months, which is the last financial year. So the migration program in Australia works financial year to financial year. So that's the 1st of July to the 30th of June. So technically now we are already halfway through the financial year. There's been so much action happening that is actually reflecting in the program that they're talking about. So I'll leave a link below of the migration planning level program that I'm actually talking about. But this financial year, they announced that there was 195,000 places for migration in Australia. That means the program allows up to 195,000 people to migrate to Australia. Now, this is meant to be permanent visas. This doesn't include the temporary visas. It doesn't include all your student, your tourist, and other temporary visas. This is meant for visas that are permanent. Now, if you head down the website, and here it is on the side here, if you scroll down, you have a look, and as you can see there's 142,000 places for skilled migration. Now, we'll talk about that and what that actually means. And if you look just below, there's 52,500 places for family visas. So we'll talk a bit about that as well. So it does look like here that they are going to prioritize partner visas, and it's not subject to these planning levels. So they're really going to ramp up the processing of those applications there. And over the last year, partner visas have been granted very quickly. A few years ago when I was working on them, I'd tell clients it'd take 2 years, maybe 3 years sometimes to get a partner visa approved. But now we're seeing them approved in under 1 year, whether it's onshore or offshore application, which I think is excellent. So as you scroll down, let's have a look at the breakdown of skilled visas and what it actually means. So what I'll discuss is just a high-level overview of these visas, the visa types, what it means, and what we can do. So the first visa category there is employer sponsored. The 2021 and 2022, so last financial year, planning levels was at 22,000. So they had 22,000 places for the employer sponsored 186 visa. Now this would include those under the temporary residence transition stream, as well as the direct entry stream. Now if we move on to the next column, this year we can see that there is 35,000. Which is super exciting. So that means if you have an employer, you meet the requirements for an employer-sponsored 186 visa, I'd say definitely go for it. There's been an increased number of places. Hopefully these applications get approved even faster. The next one under, which is the most interesting and the one we'll be talking about most probably in this new year, is a skilled independent visa. Now that's the 189 visa. Now I must say since 2019, I reckon, we haven't seen too much action with the skilled independent 189 visa. However, before that was the visa that everyone went for. It's permanent residence, there's no restrictions to stay, it's simple, you just put in your expression of interest, you get invited. No one really mucked around with the 491 and and 190 kind of before that. However, because we've seen such a drop in invitations for the 189, our strategy for our clients are, okay, how can we get the 491 for you, or how can we get the 190 visa for you? And last financial year, it was 6,500, and it was rough. Like, I remember clients would be like, was there an invitation round? They used to conduct invitation rounds every single month. This is prior to 2019. It was hot, a lot of things going on. And then slowly, I remember end of 2019, kind of 2020, they were conducting invitation rounds once a quarter, and they were very, very limited and very restricted kind of occupations. And then all of a sudden, since August, they had the first batch. I'll do a separate video on looking in the numbers into this, but it was like 10,000 issued and now 35,000 issued in the latest round. And I do think that has a lot to do with, kind of clearing the backlog and inviting people. And yes, a lot of people could not apply because they had expired skills assessments, they had expired English tests because they just forgot about it. And this is something that I stress to our clients a lot. They're like, oh, but do you think there's a chance? If it's still there, you absolutely need to be in it to win it. So we had some clients that were excellent, and every time we said, hey, you need to renew this, update this, they did it. And when the invitation round came around this time, they were invited. And I had some clients who kind of turned away. They're like, oh, I don't know, didn't respond to us. And now they're scrambling to do it. But if you're scrambling to do it, so is everybody else. And this is why it's so important to get that advice prior, have all your options open. So when it does happen, hey, we're ready for it and we got it. So we had a lot of, clients that had the 189 invitation, and not a problem because we kept their documentation, everything up to date. Anyway, so 6,500 in the year before, and this year it looks like 32,000. Now you may think, oh, but there was 10,000 invited in August, 10,000 invited in October, and 35,000 invited in December. Is there going to be any more? I do think there is, because again, as I mentioned, a lot of people who got invited, they won't be able to use their invitations. So, those are kind of cleared out of the backlogs, they have to resubmit. So everybody's kind of in the same pool again. The next one's regional. So that should be the 491 visa, 11,200 last year and 34,000 this year. Wow, like that's a huge jump again, 3 times the amount. Crazy. The next one is the state and territory nominated. So this would include the 190 as well as the 491 visa. The regional visa includes 494 visas. So the state and territory nominated, I think that includes 491 and 190. So the regional visas, I think that includes the 491 and the 494 visa. It's actually not very clear. And then the one below, the state territory nominated visas, I think that's the 190. And as you can see, it's 3 times the amount that it was last year. We've got 34,000 there and 31,000. And it's continued to increase. So in September, when they announced the figures, it was lower than that. Then I think what happened was the states are like, hey, we need more people, we need more places. So the federal government actually allocated more places, and that's why you hear people talking about, oh, there's been an increase in seats, because what they announced initially, they've actually included more now. Which goes to show the general trend of what's happening. Migration is happening in 2023. So really, if you have thought about migrating to Australia, or you have previously applied for it and it hasn't worked out, like, yes, things come and go, this happens, but if you want to do it now, this is the year to do it. Then you've got the business innovation, which has actually dropped. Global talent visas have actually also dropped, and distinguished talent, that's increased 100. However, I don't think they ever feel those amount of places, because distinguished talent, the threshold is very, very high. Now, if you look under, then they've got the family visas. So that is, your partner, your parent. So that is your partner visas. As I said, that's not really subject to ceilings at the moment. They're progressing through those application backlogs and they're going through and improving them. The next one is parent. Now, parent is a tricky one. So the parent ones, we're talking about the 103 visa, 143 visa, 804 and 864. I do think the processing time for that has increased. To be honest, I don't know. I've had some that we kind of lodged, or when I started in this industry in 2017, that we had kind of lodged. Prior to that, we're seeing some of them coming through now. So that's like 2016, 2015 applications. So that's like 7 years if you think about it. But what some people are saying is they're taking up to 10 years now. So if you're looking at applying for a parent visa, just make sure you organize a chat with a migration agent or lawyer. You have some realistic expectations in place for this. Then you got child and other family. So that brings a total to 195,000 places this year. Now, if you continue to scroll down, you can look at these state and territory nominated places. So you have a look at, ACT, ACT, New South Wales, Northern Territory, Queensland, they all have their allocation of places for their program. And a lot of the states have said, hey, we've received more seats, we're really gonna ramp up invitations in the new year. So 100% get those applications in, because you never know. All of a sudden, 189 visa, accountants were invited, all of that. Like, we were saying that, hey, the chances are very, very low, but it happened. So you gotta be in it to win it. Anyways, so in my next video, I'm gonna talk about all the different states, what the requirements are, and all the different things you can learn. Also, we'll talk about parent visas and partner visas. If you guys want to get in contact with us, our link is below. You can organize a consultation with myself or one of our fabulous lawyers or agents. I have also introduced mini courses. If you want to learn about different visas and other information about migration to Australia itself, you can head over to my website, courses.tracymigration.com.au. Some are free, some are paid, but that is for you to access on demand. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you like that, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with people who need it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.